I'm pushing buttons and changing screens all at the wrong time. Oh well. It is what it is. Hang on. I have got a really bad rattle. It's not my brains. No, in my headset. Pardon me. Sorry about that. Hang on. Nah, they're just really cheap headsets. Or a really cheap headset. It was a kit. It's set. It came with keyboard, mouse, headset. You know, one of those deals. Anyway, it's always been a little crappy, but I think the speakers are starting to go, which is strange because I never turn it even remotely up. Anyway, where to start? I hope everybody's been doing well. I hope your weekend went well. Obviously, there's been a lot go on over the weekend. Not just, I put out a video this morning on the convoy. And, as far as that's concerned, I know I've got mixed reviews on that. I normally get a lot of positive feedback as far as like thumbs up, thumbs down kind of thing. And I normally really well. I mean, it's very rare to even get one thumbs down. So out of how many? That ain't bad. It's got six likes, 2 dislikes. It's not as bad as it was. It was like 4 or 2. But anyway, the truth is the truth, and sometimes people don't like to hear it. And a lot of times that's simply because they don't like to admit to being duped. It is what it is. We followed them, and we encouraged other people to follow them and all that. We were just duped along with anybody else. And I think originally they were a really good organization. I think they really had a good intent and all of that. But then, as always, and I've talked endlessly about this, even on this show throughout the years ever since we've started, since 2014, about how groups will be co-opted and redirected. If you've been around very long, you know I've talked about this in depth multiple times. They infiltrate the group, they co-opt the group, and then they start changing the group. And that's what's happened to every movement that I've ever known. It happened to Occupy Wall Street, it happened to the Tea Party, it happened to, you name it. A lot of really good movements out there that a lot of people wouldn't think were good movements because of what the media lied to them about. So you got to be careful of that too. Occupy Wall Street didn't start out as a bunch of leftists, throwing park parties, right? That's not how it started out. It started out people from all walks that were fed up with what Wall Street was doing, with how the country was being sold out from underneath of us. It was people from the right, from the left. It was people from, wealthy families. It was people from poor families. I mean, there were some of those people, some of those kids. I mean, they were kids. They were college kids. There were some of them that were sleeping on New York City, park property that came from very wealthy families. And here they're sleeping in a tent in the park. And some of them even from very strong conservative families, being conservative themselves. So, you have to understand that's the way these things start out, and then they get co-opted. Now the thing is, political correctness, if you will, and things have kind of went the opposite direction. Before, it would have been a positive thing to promote, freedom. Now, it's a positive thing to promote control. And it is stark different today than what it used to be. Like I say, it is what it is. And to be honest, anything like this is a grassroots thing anyway. You're not going to accomplish anything from the top down. So anything like a movement is always better from the grass up. And you will be much stronger doing it that way. But as I said in my advice to anybody that was paying attention in the People's Convoy chat thingy, on Telegram that is that when you start something, you have your initial crew. You have your initial crew, the people that found it, and you do not change that. You don't go bringing in this person, that person, that person, that person. No. You keep your core. And you make damn sure that every one of you can completely trust the other one. You don't want too many cooks in the kitchen on this one either. Because then it doesn't matter what happens in the ranks under you. As long as your foundation, as long as your core is still strong, your group, your organization, your whatever it is, will continue to exist. Can't say you'll succeed. That depends on what you do while you exist. But what I'm seeing this turn into, as far as an organization, the quote-unquote official organization, is just another BS organization, just like the NRA, just like Oath Keepers, just like any number of these other organizations that don't do a damn thing for you but collect money and talk a good game. So, and you don't need that. See, and that's one thing I've screamed about for a long time. Stop paying people to defend your rights. What do you mean? Well, the NRA, these other organizations that seek donations all the time, don't. Because the only reason why I'm saying that is your rights are yours and they are your responsibility. And if you outsource that to somebody else, you can't complain when it's taken away from you. Because you weren't responsible with it. You gave that responsibility to somebody else, and it doesn't matter whether you did it to them, gave it to them with the donation or not. It doesn't matter. You have to defend these rights yourself. And from what I'm seeing happening, and I think that's what is exactly going on, is they are kind of setting out, and I'm talking about the official People's Convoy, they're setting up their outline, which is something that should have been done before they even fired the trucks up in California the first time. They're setting up all their state groups and getting all their ducks in a row with that. Why? Because they're getting ready to do a big fundraiser push. And why is that? Well, because some people apparently want to be paid protesters. It is what it is. I can't help their choices. All I can do is tell you. Because that's exactly what they're doing when they're seeking that 501c3. They're looking to go on salary as an organization. And that's where the true heart of the whole thing ends. So it's sad. It's sad. So work among your states, and you can check out the Telegram group that I linked in today's video. It is what it is, right? So all we can do is regroup one more time, but this time cutting the People's Convoy out of the car. Regroup one more time, cutting the People's Convoy out of the car so that we can remain in control of the car. We the people, the ones that they said the People's Convoy was about. Yeah. We were supposed to kind of have a say with things. We were supposed to, you remember Brian talking about all that stuff? I do. And that all changed. That all changed. Now the organizers, regardless of what comes off their lips, don't give a damn about what the people want. Because there's a lot of people asking them questions and they refuse to entertain a single one of them. They refuse. And that right there is all the evidence I need to know they're not straight anymore. Because they won't answer any questions. And everything is just flat out. It's just the entire way that they're handling this. So, anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about what the title of the show indicates a little bit. And that's this whole thing. Well, it kind of starts out with well, it doesn't start out. Let me change how I say this. I've got a link up where the FBI, and I'm sure you've heard it from a number of channels now, has put out a warning. And I'm sure you're aware of that. And likewise, hang on. Sorry about that. My sinuses are hell right now, so forgive me. So they put out this warning, and as you know, there have been just a rash. I'm sure you've heard this on a number of channels too. There has just been a rash of fires and stuff. Accidents happening at all these different places. Food processing plants, oil refineries, you name it. If it's basically if it's infrastructure, they're having fires. And it is happening one after another after another. It is happening so often. So awesome. It is happening so often that there's no way that you can't look at this and go, wait a minute here. Now, as you know, last week, I think it was Thursday's show, I went through a list of all these different places. It hasn't stopped. They continue. And even literally the last link that I shared out on Twitter is another fire in Russia at an oil depot. Another one. This is insane. And I am pretty positive that we are actually looking at the beginning of World War III. I think this is how it's starting. And I don't mean to say that to sound... I don't want you to fear it or anything like that. I just want you to understand it. That's all. Fear is not going to do anything for you. But I think this is how it starts. Something like that isn't, it isn't going to start necessarily the same way that it always starts before, There are going to be different ways, and right now there's still kind of in a proxy war kind of situation with Ukraine. But at the same time, things are starting to get really personal between Biden and Putin, if you will. And so I honestly do think, I know there's conspiracy theories going around, people saying this is the government doing this, this is planned, and you know what? It could be planned. And I've said this entire freaking war could be planned. And it's highly possible. But in the end, like I've said 1,000,001 times, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how you can respond to it. So we can argue semantics all day long. Are you ready? Because that's all that matters. But back to what I was saying, I don't think this is our government doing this to us. And whether or not we're looking at war or rumors of war, yeah, this is nations doing tit for tat. I don't see any other. It's crazy. But anyway, I do have some headlines up. I've only got six up because it's Sunday and we're going to be doing all the news from all the other days, so from the weekend. So hang on. I'm just keeping that there. 1 second. Okay, hopefully I'm good now. Rare I'm not having coffee, I'm actually having a soda. Alright, so, like I said, I've got 6 up, and only half of them have to do with that end of things. I do got a few other things that I thought I would bring to your attention. Let me switch over. Okay, first off, this came out on the 23rd, yesterday. A top killer of young Americans revealed. Right? And, you may read ahead or whatever. A lot of us make guesses at this kind of stuff before we actually read. And mine was actually, I thought it was going to be overdose, to be honest. But it wasn't. It wasn't. This is what it says. Car accidents, and I'm going to break this down because this is playing with numbers to get you to see something that isn't quite true. Top killer of young Americans revealed. Car accidents have lost top spot in the grim rankings. Firearms are now the primary cause of death among those aged under 19 in America, according to a report published on Wednesday. Firearms. Gun-related fatalities spiked by 29.5% among children and adolescents in the U.S. between 2019 and 2019, the paper published by the Institute for Firearm Injury Prevention at the University of New England has reported. Stop. Hold up. What was going on in 2019 and 2020? And a lot of people shut in their homes. And even Trump, the man they hate so bad, the man you see in the picture in the top right in front of you, even warned about suicide rates and the myriad of other problems. And again, I'm not blowing the Trump horn, but even he was talking about this stuff. Understand, let me read the next sentence. Most of the deaths were homicides, followed by suicides and accidental shootings. Yep. Tensions were much higher. People had a lot more free time on their hands to piss each other off. There was a lot of reasons that things were more tense during that time period. Okay? But they want to make you think that it's actually worse than what it was. And I mean, come on, a 29.5% spike, that's considerable, no doubt. But they mentioned car accidents. Now, that was a type of emotional manipulation to get you to subconsciously go, holy shit, more than car accidents? No. And normally, that would be a correct response. But during the particular time period that we're talking about here, Nobody was driving. Awful handy time to compare those statistics, is it not? So be careful of statistics, because no matter what, people often, when they start using them, are using them in a way to manipulate your opinion. So be careful with that. Anytime somebody wants to rattle off numbers, you start looking around those numbers and see if you can find anything else that would lead to that particular result that they aren't saying. So, anyway, I wanted to bring that up. I saw that and I thought, man, you want to talk about some anti-gun nonsense here. Next up, I've been warning about this, and of course it's clearly in the United States, but I'm gonna warn you again that it's probably going to come here. Even though we aren't necessarily in the same boat as what they are over there, we are still going to be seeing a significant spike this winter in heating costs and anything else you could imagine, actually. But I'm just going to read the beginning part of this here. It says, Britain's told to get ready for a truly horrific winter. It says as many as 4 in 10 people in Britain could fall into fuel poverty when the price cap rises again in October, the heads of the nation's energy companies have told the UK Parliament. The Guardian reported this week, according to the publication, they have called for more government support for vulnerable households, which are facing a truly horrific winter. So, stop. Let me peel the layers of this away a little bit here. Because again, they like to play, psychologist with this kind of stuff. They want government support for vulnerable households. So instead of them making it affordable, they want the government to step in and pay a subsidy. Okay? Now, mind you, these companies guaranteed are going to be recording record profits at the end of the year. They do every single year, record profits. Record profits every single year. Yet they can't come back off of their cost a little bit so that people can make it. They want the government, the taxpayers, to subsidize their greed. That's literally what's going on here. Please, I beg people. I beg people that cozy up to big oil and big energy. Stop. Stop defending them. Please. They are horrible, horrible people. Horrible people. We need to stop funneling money into their pockets. I'm not saying the green idea is the way to go. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is we need to get our head out of our asses and use the advancements in technology to truly better our national security and independent family security by trying to move away from the shit. Pardon the language. But I'm still at a loss at why people cheerlead so much for big oil. And I'm not saying that we can tomorrow everybody have electric cars and all. I'm not an idiot. But maybe instead of just pissing the idea out the door right away, We need to invest some time in perfecting it a little bit. You know, like Americans used to do. Instead of pissing and moaning. And I miss the old America. You know, the America when something needed done, we got shit done. Now when something gets done, we cry and we look around and try to find somebody else to do it for us. Well, I'm not saying that necessarily, you know what I mean. Believe me, the sentiment, as far as the general population is concerned, has changed in this country. It went from a get-it-done country to sit back and watch somebody else, you know, pull out your cell phone and record somebody else doing it country. Man, my shock mount sucks, does it not? Hell, that don't even... I think that would be less loud if I took off the shock mount, don't you? I don't think... Can you hear that very well? Jen? It's not very loud to you, is it? It's like booming in my ears. I'm sorry, I know it is you guys too. I'll quit. All I'm doing is lightly setting down my soda bottle. Sounds like I'm smacking the hell out of the boom, and I'm not. Gee, that works real well. Sorry, I'll quit being an idiot. No, I won't. That's a promise I can't keep. 2 people shot dead by police in Paris amid protests. This happened earlier today. Apparently, and I'll just read the article here. Let me refresh it because it's not real old news. Doesn't really look like they've added much, though. It says 2 people were killed in Paris amid election protest on Sunday evening after police fired at a vehicle following a refusal to comply order, AFP news agency has reported. A vehicle reportedly tried to clash onto the police officers at Pont Neuf, and I'm sure I said that wrong, and one of them fired his weapon. The driver and his front passenger died. A person who was sitting in the back was injured. The driver reportedly stopped at the request of the patrol, but then, during the check, he suddenly pressed the gas and drove towards the police. According to the media, one of the law enforcement officers was forced to shoot several times with a rifle in self-defense. So the incident occurred during protests in multiple French cities, including Paris, that followed the second round of presidential elections in France. A few hours earlier, supporters of French President Emmanuel Macron held a rally in Paris on the Champ de Mars where he delivered an appeal. According to the Interior Ministry, centrist Macron won 58.55% of the vote, while right-wing nationalist Rally's Marine Le Pen scored 41.45%. So, you know what they've selected, or who they've selected. I haven't trusted any of the selections for a long time. I didn't say elections, I said selections. Todd at YouTube. I agree with Bear. I do think his name's Todd. The guy at YouTube. I agree. I think it's Todd. Alright. Alright, next few that I have deal with what's going on with all the crazy incidents. Started out with the FBI deal. It says here, and this came out yesterday, it said FBI warns cyber attacks could impact world food supply. It says the top U.S. law enforcement agency has warned of increased cyber attacks on agricultural cooperatives, saying hackers could target large-scale farms and potentially impact the world's food supply. Now, hang on. Remember, as I was going through, you may not, may not, on Thursday when I was going through the list of different places I had specifically said, man, this is a lot of just kind of like little grain elevators and stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of peculiar. And they're literally saying here, and when I say little, by the way, they're not that little, but they would likely be in what you would call a cooperative. Okay? And that's kind of eerie, to be honest. But let me continue on. The FBI Cyber Division issued a notice to private industry earlier this week, pointing to a growing number of ransomware attacks on farming co-ops throughout the fall 2021 harvest and the early months of 2022. Now that's ransomware. It says ransomware actors may be more likely to attack agricultural cooperatives during critical planting and harvest seasons, disrupting operations, causing financial loss, and negatively impacting the food supply chain. It said, adding that such breaches could affect the planting season by disrupting the supply of seeds and fertilizer. This is going a little bit different angle. The Bureau went on to cite several recent cases, including a month-long period late last year in which 6 major grain cooperatives were hit with a variety of ransomware attacks, as well as multi-state grain company, which experienced a similar hack in March, and noted the widespread effects such attacks could have on the global food supply, given the importance of grain for both people and livestock. And they said a significant disruption of grain production could impact the entire food chain, since its grain is not only consumed by humans, but also used for animal feed, it said. In addition, the significant disruption of grain and corn production could impact commodities, tradings, and stocks. Pardon me. Now, that's actually the first I've read the article. Okay? And no, I don't go around listening to 5 million YouTube channel people's opinions on what they do. There are a few channels I actually watch, and that's because I don't have to listen to 2 minutes of information and 18 minutes of their opinion. And so I had no idea that this was the direction they were taking it, was ransomware. That makes me suspect, because we're sitting here, we're watching all these like fires and stuff take place, and then the FBI comes out and they warn about cyber attacks, and they warn about these particular type of places where we're seeing all these incidents happen. But they're talking about ransomware attacks, which is totally different than trying to do something that actually destroys the facilities. Ransomware is basically locking their data away and not letting them have access to their data or their systems until you pay whatever. And then they'll, if they live up to their end, they'll release the stuff and you'll have access to your systems and can do business again. The whole idea is that it disrupts your business so that you can't do business, so that you lose money. And that's what the whole benefit for you to pay them their ransom is so you can go back to making money. Nothing to do with fires or destruction of equipment or, the action. Well, it can bring supply down to a halt. But see, most of the time, from what I've seen with these ransomware attacks, they essentially go after the billing. That's what I've seen a lot. They kind of go after the billing, or, the methods that you would know what to bill or what have you. They normally, it's not like they're going after people's personal credit card numbers and stuff like that. No, they're going after the ability for them to be able to make money. Okay? They're not after your personal, they aren't after your personal credit cards. They are after the big bucks, which they're hoping the company pays them so they can go back to continuing making money. This is very suspect. For them to do this is very suspect. This is propaganda. And we should be asking why. So, Okay, well, speaking about the craziness, I do have a couple from Russia. This one I shared it out yesterday. It says three people, well, it says explosion rocks Russian mine. An explosion hit a copper and zinc mine in Russia's central Orenburg region near the border with Kazakhstan at 8:50 a.m. local time on Saturday. Okay? 91 miners underground. You know, there's just another facility. I know that there was a General Mills plant that caught fire. I know that there was a plant, I don't know if that was the one that the plane flew in. There was a plane that flew in one. I mean, it is crazy what is happening with these food processing plants and keep continuing to happen. Okay, here's a mine, right? And then, like I told you, this is the last thing I shared out on Twitter. Oil depot on fire in Russian city. The fire broke out on Monday night at an oil depot in Russia's Bryansk, a city in the Rostov region near Ukraine. Imagine that. Local residents report that explosions were heard. Sirens can be heard in social media videos. According to locals, explosions and fire occurred in several districts of Bryansk. Emergency services began to evacuate residents of houses near the burning oil depot. Hang on. The Ministry of Emergency Situations confirmed the fact of ignition. Officials have not commented on the causes of the incident. The distance from Bryansk to the border with Ukraine is 154 kilometers. The distance from Belgorod, where an oil depot was attacked by helicopters of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on April 1st, to the border with Ukraine is 37 kilometers. So, anyway, I expect that we will likely see many more places start to have issues, and I think as we move forward into this week, I think we are going to see a rash of this, as if it wasn't already bad enough. But I really do think that this week, I think the news is really going to pick up heavy and hard. I think the time for calm is done for a little while. So you guys know I always hope I'm wrong with this stuff, and I don't say this stuff to fearmonger. And I don't fearmonger. I don't want anybody afraid. I don't want anybody panicked. I don't want anybody to worry. Leave that for the Father. You just do your part. You know, I just really feel like we're at a hell of a moment in time. And I really think it's going to ramp up quick. I do expect to see a lot more of these incidents, as I said, coming into this week. And I think this week and next week, it's going to become insanely obvious that this is being intentionally done. These aren't just freak accidents. So, and I think that we will see an escalation of warfare in different ways. And I think that it's going to be types of warfare that we haven't seen before. So I think it's going to be a very, very different battlefield. And I've said that from the beginning. It's going to be a very different battlefield. We don't have no idea what it's going to look like. So anyway, let me, I guess, do some headlines and scooch on out of here. Get me a few vapes. I literally right before the show changed out flavors, so now I'm on Pink Starburst. Yum yum. I'm still getting the cotton broke in, or whatever you want to call it. Boy, is it good. Okay. Let's see. And these, as usual, start on Friday morning. The stuff that I started putting out Friday morning, all the way up until right before the show. Today was a pretty slow day, really. I mean, at first there was, several, but I mean, not a whole lot came out throughout the day. Kind of typical for Sunday, but it was pretty laid back. Let's see. And the only reason why I say it's about to really ramp up because of what it is that the news has been. Let's see. Once again, starting with stuff from Friday, UK waives sanctions on key Russian bank. Ukrainian troops training on British soil, says Johnson. Japan explains why it won't quit Russian energy. Kim Jong-un pens farewell letter to South Korean leader. That would be the outgoing leader. It's not like he's saying, I'm getting ready to nuke you. India comments on Japanese military plane claims. Ukraine to receive customized combat drones from the U.S. I'm going to back up a couple here. I don't really know what's going on there with South Korea. I don't know. I don't know if it's just like one president going out and the next president moving in. But if that is what's happening in North Korea, maybe that's the stick up Kim Jong-un's butt right now. Maybe he knows that that person that's coming in isn't in any way remotely interested in working with him, however that looks. So maybe Kim Jong-un's just trying to intimidate the incoming person so that they would be more willing to work with him. Who knows? Said that one. Ukraine to receive customized combat drones from U.S. At some point, Russia's going to be like, you know what? You're giving them weapons to fight us. So, Russian airlines told to prepare to fly without GPS, says media. Now, that is interesting, is it not? EU fails to agree on Russian energy ban. By the way, and I've told you before, be ready for that. I've warned you about the GPS thing before. Make sure that you've got compass and maps and what have you. Do not rely on that kind of stuff being there because it may not be there. EU fails to agree. Oh, I covered that. Sorry. Russia unveils plans for digital ruble, domestic payment system. Ruble rallies amid easing of capital controls. Trump slams Biden for U.S. international role slide. No new Spider-Man or Hulk comics for Russia, says reports. And I normally don't share entertainment-related stuff, but, that, in my opinion, this is related to news, because that's just one more thing that they're taking away from Russia, which is undoubtedly adding more tension. That just adds to the pile, regardless of whether or not comics are important to me. Other people think they are. So, it's amazing, isn't it? The world ain't about me. Let's see. Iran says won't abandon avenging killed general. Let's see. Russia ramps up oil shipments, says a report. Russia makes another Mariupol offer. What do you offer? Like $15 or something? I don't know. Ukraine talks stalled in Russia, says Russia. Assange order shows hypocritical nature of the U.S., says China. Still on Friday, by the way. Bojo weighs in on Russian victory. Afghan refugees moved aside for Ukrainians, says media. Details of Taiwan missile and drone program emerge. EU changes tune on ruble gas payments. UN comments on Ukraine genocide claims. U.S. warns against Russian energy ban. NASCAR to disappear from Russian TV screens, says reports. And again, it's another thing that's kind of, related to sports. However, it's another thing that's being taken away from Russia, which, again, adds to the tensions regardless. Putin tells EU to discourage Kiev from shelling Donbass. Norman Foster proposes City of the Future for Ukraine. Let's see. Sanctions against Moscow hurt vulnerable nations, says minister. Ukraine accuses mayor of treason. Poland suggests plan for seized Russian assets. EU issues guidelines for gas payments in rubles. Ukraine to get battle tanks as part of swap deal by EU nations. Damn, a lot of headlines. As I recall, Friday was kind of busy. I didn't even really fly in the flight simulator this weekend. I don't think I flew any at all. I think I went in and I did something, some kind of minor editing or something to something, but that was it. I didn't go flying around. Okay, UN General, this is still Friday. UN Secretary General heading to Moscow. U.S. doesn't want peace in Ukraine, says Russia. U.S. Congresswoman fights off accusations of insurrection. Germany explains why it opposes Russia gas embargo. Russia reveals sunken warship's crew losses. Germany reveals military and economic strategy. U.S. outlines a step that may cost Putin an astronomical price. Former president arrested in the U.S. on drug and weapons charges. Not one of our former presidents. Let's see. U.S. names Ukraine weapons coordinator. Now, if it was one of our former presidents, it would be hilarious, but it wasn't. Philadelphia makes about-face on mask mandate. Of course they're not going to convict one of our former presidents of drug charges, because who the hell do you think brings them in the country? FBI warns cyber attacks could impact world food supply. That deal with this former president dude, okay, he probably did somebody wrong, okay, and that's why he's in trouble. Kind of like I've talked about Blagojevich before. Blagojevich didn't do anything different than any other of those do. Except he did it to the wrong person. Obama promised that seat to somebody else. And he did a pay-for-play deal. They both did. Come on, we know it. They both did a pay-for-play deal for that seat. Well, since Obama was the one that was vacating it, and the new president, guess who got in trouble? That's 100% of what that was about. I don't like Blagojevich, I'm not defending him, but he didn't do anything different that any of them don't do. Nothing. It's just he pissed on the wrong person. That's not how our government should operate. I don't know if I did Philadelphia makes about face on mask mandate or not. Covered that. U.S. warns China about Pacific base. Oh, we are on yesterday now. Sorry, I didn't notice that. I deserve another drink. Oh, goodness. Hopefully I sleep well tonight. I've been having a lot of issue with like my rib cage and my sternum and collarbone, just my upper body, just the joints giving me hell. friend of mine stepped on my back earlier, so hopefully they give me a little relief tonight. It's been jacked up actually for weeks. Okay, I covered that one. Austria explains why it can't ban Russian gas. Again, we're on yesterday's stuff. Top killer of... Oh, covered that. Poland suffers second mine blast in a week. Okay, this is Poland. Their second one in a week. Florida ends Disney special status. I thought that was awesome. China seeks to move in after Shell's exit from Russia, says media. And there are some people that are trying to defend Disney on this, saying, well, you wouldn't like that if that was your business, and blah, 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 blah. They should have never gotten that. They should have never... Nobody should ever get sweetheart deals like that. Nope. That ain't how this country... Nope. That should have never been allowed. Let's see. China seeks to move in after Shell's exit from Russia, says media. Let's see. World's biggest sovereign wealth fund takes a hit. Germany should stop sending weapons to Ukraine, says public figures. Global supply of vital edible commodity under threat, and I think this is going to be the oil. Palm oil, sunflower oil, stuff like that. Oil. Cooking oil. Russia to investigate alleged SAS activities in Ukraine. A Tyson plane attack victim could sue. A U.S. plans to accuse Russia of using nukes in Ukraine, says Moscow. Dude should have bit Tyson's ear off. I didn't say. Did I say that? I think I said it. Let's see. Did I say this one? U.S. plans to accuse Russia of using nukes in Ukraine, says Moscow. I don't know if I said that or not. Too busy jacking around. Knife man goes on stabbing spree in British town. Britain's I covered that one. Russian producers obliged to sell more fuel at exchange auctions. California man arrested for threatening dictionary. Okay. I guess maybe the dictionary got offended. I'm not sure. Leaders predict how long EU can survive without Russian gas. Russian space chief says what could spark World War III. Let's see. Greeks spending less on basics. It's because the world is spending less on basics. West considers 3 options for Russian oil, says media. General accuses Boris Johnson of disclosing military secrets. You mean like the Clintons? Oh, what was that? Oh, just a drone. Let's see. Russia calls for thorough investigation into mass grave near French base. Stop Woke Act becomes law. That's in Florida. EU Commission sued over COVID-19 vaccine secrecy. Supermarkets limit cooking oil purchases due to Ukraine crisis. Russia took the oil. They're taking all the cooking oil. It's a conspiracy. It's conspiracy. The Russians. They're going to steal our deep fried food. We better nuke them. Better nuke them. We can't go without our deep fried food. I still see Brady Bunch. Every time I hear Russia, I see Brady Bunch. And the Marsha. All I see is that, and I hear Russia. I don't know why. I'm just goopy like that. Stop Russia Now campaign gets underway in Europe. Biden, I love this one. Biden promises eco-friendly U.S. military. So now when we go blow the hell out of other people, we're going to do so green. Right? So remember when all those explosives rip your house apart and send your body hundreds of feet in the air as your arms and legs are ripped from you, remember, he did so while thinking of the environment. Thank you, Biden. Explosion at illegal oil refinery kills 100, says reports. Here's another one. Turkey blocks Russian flights to Syria. Ukraine given more weapons to defend Polish sovereignty. Russia says it destroyed weapons delivered by U.S. and EU to Ukraine. I thought that was real interesting. Elon Musk calls out Bill Gates. I'll tell you what, I had a hell of a good laugh at that. That's hilarious. And yeah, you got to see this. I mean, this if you didn't see this is like ultimate trolling here. This guy's like the troll king. So first off, Elon Musk tweets, in case you need to lose a boner fast, and he showed the new, I believe that's the Apple pregnant man emoji next to a what appears to be a pregnant Bill Gates, and and then he tweets this image here and says shadow ban council reviewing tweet. Oh, dude, I about lost it. When I read that. Dude's like the ultimate troll. Okay, still on yesterday's stuff. Ukraine threatens to quit peace talks with Russia. Germany can't isolate Russia, says a former chancellor. And now we're to today's stuff. So I'm going to have a sip of soda. I'm going to do some Coke, man. The cherry vanilla kind, man. Alright, Goose Braba. Trying to relax. Goose Braba. Try it. You feel much better, more free. Goose Braba. She ain't buying it. Sheesh. She'll never know. Alright. Yeah, I'm like this pretty much all the time, so. I keep telling people I don't, live with a big stick up my ass or nothing. I'm a nutcase. I come here to do news. That's my job. I do news. I bring you news. I try to live as lightheartedly as I can because why be any other way? I mean, 9 times out of 10, what destroys a person is their own attitude. And most of that is just having a negative, piss-poor attitude. So, I try to keep things light, try to joke. Try to keep moving things in a positive direction and keep moving forward. Not sitting stagnant, stale. Let's see. Okay, everything that I started putting out this morning. Polls open in French presidential election. Of course, I've heard already how that turned out. Biden ratings crater, but VPs are even lower, says a poll. And I mean, how you can get even lower? Pretty nuts. UK to open first new coal mine in 30 years, says media. Gee, I wonder why. Sanctions won't bring peace, says Argentinian FM. soda's trying to make me belch. Sanctions may ground Russian airliner. Trump weighs in on Biden Easter Bunny incident. French priest and nun stabbed in a church attack. Global growth forecast slashed. Grounded Russian cargo ships dent French budget. A German request over weapons for Ukraine is rejected, says the media. UK's flagship carrier cancels popular routes. Yankees fans throw trash and debris at rival team. Russian gas embargo impossible for Austria, says energy minister. Alleged Ukrainian fighter calls for heads of Donbass children to be cut off in video. Ukraine angered by Austria's short-sighted stance on EU bid. Extreme poverty in India has been cut by half, World Bank says. Australia warns China of red line. Russian embassy under blockade in U.S., says envoy. China to build space defense system. Google accused of creepy speech policing. Military explains capability of Russia's new missile. We can't pass over Partygate scandal with the PM, says UK opposition. Macron leads in presidential race, says exit polls. Trump says he'd stop Putin from using the N-word, and he's talking about nukes. Marine Le Pen concedes defeat in French presidential election. Israel says it has no plans to divide holy site in Jerusalem. Macron pledges to address voters' rage as police clash with protesters. Germany toughens conditions for migrants. And I covered that one. Oh, nope, there are more. Sorry. Covered that one. French presidential election results announced. U.S. cancels, and I don't know if it's ELB or LB or how it's pronounced, meeting commemoration ceremony, which says Russian ambassador, which is a pretty big deal, really. And I did cover that one. So there we go. That is, that's the headlines. That's all of them. Okay. Well, I really don't know of anything else. Just keep at it. Keep a close eye on all these things. It's really getting crazy out there. Watch for that ramp up in all these crazy incidents, these fires and stuff like that at these places. I think we're going to see a huge increase of that this coming week. So, and I really do think that that's what we're seeing. I think that's it's a tit for tat back and forth. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. Hope to see you all then. Hope you have a great night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.